Evening, gang. Welcome along to the show. It's Wednesday, the 14th of September, 2022. A very good evening to you and welcome to our little show this evening. Slightly different, but not too different. I'd like to remember the Queen tonight, as well as our usual little bits of chit-chat and all that business. If you'd like to join in, feel free to send us a text. 07451 287 337 is my texting number, okay? 07451 287 337. Or, of course, if you want to put anything in the chat box as well, I'll be dropping in and out of that. Of course, this is the first time we've get a chance to speak on this particular show since the passing of our dear Queen last week, wasn't it? And so much has happened since then, don't you think? I think about Liz Truss, our new illustrious leader. What a gosh, I mean, I thought it was bad enough for old Boris Johnson, you know, when he became Prime Minister a couple of years ago. A few months down the line, I think it was a few months, he got hit with the old coronavirus, didn't he? Coronavirus! He got hit with that almost straight away, well, a few months afterwards. Poor old Liz Truss, 2 days after she kind of became leader, I mean, literally 2 days after, the only person, in my mind anyway, you know, I don't know about legally and all that business, but the only person in my mind who was above her, sadly, leaves the planet to go, let's hope, somewhere else. You know, wow. I mean, what sort of goes through her mind? But she must have been tearing her hair out. But she's done really well, I think, along with everyone else. Throughout the course of the last few days, the whole way that the Queen's passing has been handled by the royals, Parliament, the media, I thought has been really good. Really good. No slip-outs, really, except for the odd idiot who thinks they got the right to just shout and protest all the time. Well, we've all got rights to protest and things like that, but I just feel that there's a time and a place, do you know what I mean? And when you've got someone going past in a coffin, whether it be the Queen or a commoner like myself, is not the time to start shouting bits and pieces out. Eamon Holmes on UK on GB News this morning was going mad. They were going mad. Of course, all the self-righteousness was sitting there on their little panel, including, I have to say, someone who I quite like, Isabel, who was saying, oh, you know, don't you think you have a right, people should have a right to protest? Absolutely, yes. But there's a time and a place. And when someone's going past dead in a coffin is not the time and a place to scream and shout. And the very fact that members of the crowd, I don't think it was the police, members of the crowd dragged this bloke out and gave him a bit of a slap. I'm sorry, good. You deserved it. You absolutely deserved it. You know, don't be shouting and screaming, that sort of thing. Anyway, there we go. I've watched quite a lot of it on the news. Well, you can't really miss it, can you? Again, I know there are people moaning, oh, why have we got to have it on 24 hours a day? Well, are you that thick that you can't find the change channel button? You know, the main channel of this country, whether you like it or not, is BBC. BBC One. You know, they are showing it almost 24 hours a day. I don't know if they've had a break at all in it, to be honest, but they're showing it like 24 hours a day. And if you want to switch up, don't be sitting there moaning all the time. People moan all the time. Just flick the channel. You can find so much crap that your minute little brains would prefer perhaps. Something like ITV-BE, some little trash like that perhaps, you know, Housewives of Cheshire or Big Brother or something like that. I'm sure you can just by using the little brain. Instead of, let's put a little tweet out. Oh, do us a favour. God, do us a favour. Anyway, as I say, I've been watching most of it. If you've got any comments, please put them in there. Have you... It seems wrong to almost say, have you had like a highlight of all the goings on at the moment? And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I don't mean that in, you know, was there anything you laughed at? Because there is certainly stuff I've been laughing at. Her little bits of humour that she had, and there were so many little funny bits. For example, you know, when she was cutting the cake, do you remember for her platinum jubilee? And she had this great big blooming sword, and she's using this cake, and I think it was Kate, or of course now the Princess of Wales, and I think it was the Princess of Wales who said, "Oh, there's a knife over there." She said something like, "No, this is fine, thank you very much." And she had this great big sword cutting the cake. Hilarious. Of course, you can't forget the old Paddington Bear thing, can you? That wonderful little treat we had at Paddington Bear. Of course, Paddington Bear, I don't think he was actually there filming that. She was literally like having to talk to thin air. It's very clever how they do it, really. And then they bring in Paddington Bear afterwards, electronic and computer trickery, that sort of thing. And it is very, very, very clever indeed, yeah. And of course, then we had the old Olympics going back even further than that. And I absolutely loved the Olympics thing. There's a little story here that Daniel Craig, let me find it. I should have Daniel Craig here somewhere. I must be very careful I don't click the wrong thing here. Hang on, where it is, there it is. Daniel Craig there. You remember for the Olympics, the Queen appeared to fly in on a helicopter. The scene starts with Daniel Craig walking through Buckingham Palace to the Queen's, I don't know what you would call the room, where she signs all the little bits of paper and all this. And he goes in there, and then it cuts to a picture of her, and you think, is that the Queen? And it is. It is. And then she's just signing these bits of paper. Daniel Craig's there, but she hasn't spotted him yet. Right, she's signing. And then he goes, "Oh, there you are, Bond," or something like that. And then she grabs her handbag and they go out. And it's very clever how it's done. And she appears to get on a helicopter and then flies over London to the Olympic Stadium. And can you believe this is 10 years ago? It's 10 years, isn't it? 10 years ago since the London Olympics. That's how long ago it was. So long ago, I can't believe it. That's when I was doing the quiz night in Rotherhithe 10 years ago. And it then looked like she was jumping out of the helicopter and parachuted in, and then it cut to a picture of her sitting there. It was fantastic. It's fantastic. And Daniel Craig wrote in the Metro this week, James Bond star Daniel Craig has reflected on filming a scene with the Queen for the London 2012 Olympics, describing it as an incredible thing. The world saw a more spirited side to the monarch when she made a cameo appearance in Danny Boyle's opening ceremony for the Olympic Games. In the comedy sketch, Craig, who plays a British spy, 007 of course, or did at the time, he's since retired from that, would you say? I don't understand why we still don't know who the new 007 is going to be, do we yet? There's various people, you get these people that are like so-called experts on everything. Don't you love those? It doesn't matter what you're talking. I know a few of those. Believe me, I know a few of those. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. They are an expert in it. Doesn't matter. Oh, well, I've got this certificate and I've got... Oh, please do us a favour. Yeah, do us a favour. It doesn't make you an expert on anything, really. But they're all out there saying, oh, it's definitely going to be this person. And no one knows, really, until the old Broccoli's tell us, doesn't it? That funny surname, Broccoli. Anyway, in the comedy sketch, Craig, who played British spy 007, called at Buckingham Palace to summon the Queen to the event. The Queen, who was sitting at the writing desk, as I just told you, made him wait before greeting him with the words, "Good evening, Mr. Bond. Good evening, Mr. Bond." just as you would expect her to do so. They walked together along with some of the corgis towards a helicopter and set off, flying over London to the Olympic Stadium, concluding with a stunt double of the Queen parachuting into the arena. I'm very hot in here tonight. What's that on? Well, it's on 19. Seconds later, the real Queen, wearing the same peach dress as the stunt double, entered the stadium to rapturous applause. Oh, it was fantastic to see that, because of course no one expected it. She didn't tell anyone. It's very, very difficult sometimes when you've got people who insist on ringing the Daily Sun or the Daily Mail, or I've got a bit of an exclusive with it. Yeah, the Queen's going to jump out of a parachute, but no one knew. They all managed to keep their lips shut. It's a shame that people can't keep their lips shut these days, isn't it? Anything with perhaps a little bit of money's involved, or they're straight on that phone. I tell you, if anyone, any like star or celebrity or royal told me something, please don't tell anyone. But I absolutely would keep that secret. I should have worked for the Secret Services, I reckon. I think I would have been good at that. Absolutely loyal to the crown and not revealing secrets to anyone. I do feel sorry for the Queen in a while. Over the years, you know, she's had some people, some wonderful people working for her who still do, you know, who still work for the crown at the moment. And she's been some not so wonderful people who ring up the newspapers with these little stories or start writing books and stuff like that. One particularly very close person, you know, no names mentioned, of course. Daniel Craig says, reflecting on his time filming with the Queen, Daniel Craig, who's 54, initially paid tribute to the incomparable legacy on Thursday, told the BBC at the Toronto International Film Festival what an incredible thing it was. We will not see the likes of her ever again. To be alive during her reign is something else. He said, I'm very saddened, so I suppose good luck to Charles. And Frank Cottrell Boyce, who co-wrote the Queen's TV appearance with Paddington Bear and Daniel Craig, told BBC 4's Today's programme on Friday that the Queen had volunteered herself for the Bond Queen. She had volunteered herself, right? He said, we went to the palace asking for permission to represent her and to know what she would be wearing on that day when she gets to the stadium, for obvious reasons, because whoever they were going to get to play the Queen should wear the same clothes, right? And it was her amazing dresser who said, no, she wants to be in it. She was game and she was up for it. In fact, on the day when we were filming, she asked Danny Boyle if she could have a line because there wasn't a line in the script. Probably because when I was typing the script, I didn't quite know how you would type the character of the Queen. What would you type? And so it goes on there. Absolutely fantastic. She wanted to be in it. She had a wicked sense of humour. And of course today, we've had the procession, haven't we? Timed to the second. It always is. Whenever you've got these big royal events, and nothing can be bigger than this one. When you've got these big royal events, I don't know if you realise, but everything is absolutely timed to the second. They know exactly when they're going to leave, when they're going to be there, when they're going to be there. It's just amazing. And this morning after my radio show, we went swimming and we came back here, had a bit of lunch and we put the telly on, me and my mate, and we just sat there and watched the whole thing from start to end. We were in front of the telly around about 1 o'clock. And I already knew, I can't remember how I know now, that the coffin was going to leave Buckingham Palace at 22 minutes past 2. And sure enough, the clock ticked over and off it went. We had Big Ben bonging every minute. I don't think I've ever heard, I don't remember ever hearing Big Ben bong every minute, you know, unless it's on the hour, of course. We had the guns going off. And then those young men, boys, carrying the coffin. Wow. What a wonderful thing to do. And terrifying as well at the same time. What an honour. What an honour to be asked to carry the Queen's coffin. And I think isn't it made of lead? So I would imagine that would be a very heavy thing. Not the Queen, because she was very small, wasn't she? I wouldn't imagine she'd weigh much at all, but the coffin itself, I would imagine, extremely heavy. And she had 8 very young people carrying this thing, and none of them were sort of over the age of 28, I would say. They were all quite young. A couple of them looked like they were about 20, 21 sort of years old. What an honour to carry the Queen's coffin. And they did it so well. There was a boy at the back on the right-hand side, looked like he was struggling a bit, not with the weight of the coffin, but his face was upset upset. Shall we say upset? Well, they all looked upset. You know, no one's like smiling and laughing. Why would you be doing that? You know, unless you're one of those awful people who have uploaded TikToks. Ha ha ha, the Queen is dead. What dreadful people they are. You know, someone needs to remind these people that you've got not a hell in chance that as many people will miss you as are going to miss Her Majesty. Dreadful people. Cut them off, that's what I say. Hey, what about free speech? Like I said, there's a time and a place. And then we had all these different uniformed people and the marching perfectly in step with each other. Just perfect. March, march, march. Oh, the bloke playing the drum, you know, keeping them all in time. Boom, boom, boom. And I remember a little interview going on there. They decided to do the steps, 75 steps per minute, which I think the interviewer was saying, oh, that's a little bit faster than we expected. There was a reason for that. I can't remember what it was. But the bloke who was running it all, he was all dressed in red. And they were having a little bit of a chat with them. And, you know, when he was interviewing this bloke, who was running the whole thing, according to this interview, he appeared extremely confident. Because all this stuff has been rehearsed many, many times. Many, many times. It's all been rehearsed. There was a little thing I heard on the news that one day they were rehearsing the Queen's funeral when she was still alive. Either Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle she was at. And she had her window open. She said, could you close the window? I don't want to hear my own funeral. You see, she had the most wonderful sense of humour. Wonderful. Anyway, they were interviewing this bloke, and he said, yes, everything will be fine. And he was so confident, and you knew everything would be fine. And then, round about 2:15, we saw the picture on the telly of the palace, and you could see people on the palace roof. I would assume they were marksmen, possibly, you know, just in case there was any aggro. You know what some of these blooming fanatics are like. What a shame we've got these sort of people in the world, but there you are. They're up there to be dealt with correctly, I hope, you know, if something was to happen. And then these marching people led, I think the band came out first, didn't they? They got this little band, I say little band, large band, and there they are with all their flutes, and I saw a clarinet there, and the bloke with the drum, boom, boom, boom. And there's one with drumsticks that he was flying around like this all the time. Very clever. And through they came, followed by someone else, and then you saw the horses. For some reason, I expected the Queen to be in a glass thing, but she wasn't. She was simply on top of this gun carriage, which my mate was telling me was the last working gun carriage or something like that, the very last one with all the original components still on there. Do you know, it's amazing what you can remember when you're paying attention and listening to something, isn't it, eh? Isn't it amazing? I can't remember. All this is recorded. None of this is written down in front of me. That's how much I was into that this afternoon. And then the horses were coming through, and there she was, with the Queen's standard draped over the coffin. It looked to me like she was kind of being pulled at a slight angle. I don't know if there was a reason for that or not. You know, like everyone was straight, but as the coffin and the horses, they were kind of on an angle like that. I don't know where they were. A couple of the horses appeared to be suffering. They kept going up like that. I don't know if we have any people who know anything about horses. Why would the horses be doing that? And I did think, but the person riding this, there was two particular horses. One was doing it more than the other, but the person actually riding the horse and in control didn't seem bothered at all. So perhaps that's quite a normal thing for that to happen. I don't know. Anyway, and they came through, and then followed, of course, by Prince Charles and Camilla. Was Camilla there? Or who was at the front there? Was Camilla at the front with Charles, or was it not? No, I don't think it was it? It was Prince Charles, Princess Anne, and behind Charles was Prince William. Next to him was Prince Harry. Yeah. and there were some other people in black. There was Andrew was there as well, and of course Princess Anne. Princess Anne was there, and I've been keeping an eye on her over the last few days. What a wonderful woman. She's been by her side, by the Queen's coffin, most of the time, doing little bits and pieces. Over the years, Princess Anne, she just gets on with stuff and doesn't seek any reward or anything like that. Yes, I know it's her job and all that, but it's like she just gets on with it and isn't worried about interviewed by, I don't know, saving a load of donkeys or something like that. She just gets on with it. And this is how she's been throughout all this process so far. It's horrible losing your mum. You know, I lost mine 22 years ago and I haven't got over it. Maybe one or two of you have lost yours and never really quite got over yours. But this is the real time when it really hurts badly. And of course, they're all out in the public. They can't go and hide themselves away or go for a quiet walk at night on their own somewhere. They've got to do all their grieving in public. And I just think Princess Anne is absolutely marvellous. I think I had a little story here somewhere. There we are. In the Sun, heartbroken Princess Anne has shown she's a public servant of the highest order. She is. She absolutely is. We must remember to show our gratitude. It says, since the Queen's death, the world's cameras have been trained firmly on our new King, Charles III. Attention has diverted only occasionally to catch glimpses of brothers William and Harry and their wives and to ponder Prince Andrew's fall from grace. And this is true. But too little attention has been given to one profoundly central figure, Princess Anne, one of the hardest working members of the royal family. I've always liked Princess Anne. She has an air of ordinariness to her. I seem to remember when I was a child, she was always swearing quite a lot, and that it kind of makes you feel a little bit closer to her, knowing my mouth when I'm not doing this programme. Believe me, if you've ever been to a karaoke night or sort of one of the live things I do, I have got a little bit of a mouth on me, which I certainly calm down when I'm doing these little video shows and the radio thing. The Sun goes on to say she has quietly and diligently dedicated her life to public service. And that's the thing with her. She don't shout about it. She does loads of stuff you or I have never heard about. It says she's quietly and diligently dedicated her life to public service. The irony is that royals who seem to do the least tend to shout the loudest. Her resolve has quietly shone through in what must be an unimaginably difficult time for her. Poignant images of her calmly curtsying before her mother's coffin at Holyrood Palace and marching behind the hearse alongside her three brothers on Monday revealed a grief-stricken yet courageous figure. This is in the Sun. Yesterday, she took on yet another role of being the only royal to accompany the Queen's coffin on its final journey to Buckingham Palace. Anne is clearly a dedicated public servant of the highest order, and she has brought a calm sense of continuity at the time of seismic change. So much is changing. Can you feel it all? So much is changing. The Prime Minister, now the Queen. There's a big changes coming through. I can feel them. Don't know what they are yet. I can just feel them. She has done the Queen and country proud, and we must remember to show our gratitude to an extraordinary woman. What a wonderful, hard-working lady she is. Princess Anne. And there she was, marching with the coffin earlier, outside Buckingham Palace along the, sorry, I can't remember what it's called now. Something Row. What is it called? Horse Guards Parade. Was it Horse Guards Parade? Through there, and eventually arriving in Westminster. So many people. I mean, there must have been 20, 30 deep, these crowds there. I said to my mate, if we had tried to go, you wouldn't really see much. You do see it all on the telly, or you can go there and feel the atmosphere and maybe not get a good view, but it's difficult to get them both, And remember, when that coffin comes past you, you only see that for a few seconds, whereas when you're sitting at home watching it on the telly, all well and good, And then eventually it came in, and those 8 young boys again took the coffin off. Perfect. Everything was just so perfect. Up they come up the steps, and then they put the coffin onto the thing in the big hall, didn't they? And we had a choir singing some nice stuff, just a cappella, no instruments or anything like that, no organ, which was just beautiful. Some prayers. And then right at the end of it, these guards came down, all dressed in red and metal stuff on and all this. Must be very heavy to carry all this stuff. And they positioned themselves. I think there were 6 of them altogether, 2 at the front, 2 on that corner, 2 on that corner, and they kind of stepped up onto this platform where the coffin lay, with a flag across there, and bowed their heads, and they stand there for 6 hours like that. I mean, how do you do that? How can you just stand head down in one position for 6 hours and not move? I don't know how they do that. I mean, I'm not making light of it, but what if they want to go to the toilet? Can they go, or how does that work? But even if you didn't want to go to the toilet, there's no way I could stand in one place. I'd be like this a bit, Oh, that leg's hurting a bit now, or that leg's hurt. Of course, they were a lot younger than me, admittedly. So maybe it's easier for them. But honestly, the respect we saw today, nothing went wrong. Nothing was going to go wrong. Not when it's run properly like that. So basically, the Queen's body has now been handed over to the state. And if you want to, you can go to London and walk past. Now, this is something I'd quite like to do, I'll be honest with you. But I think the time you were queuing, if you decide to go now, I think it's too late, to be honest. You should have been there 2 days ago. There's been people queuing up there 2 days already, isn't there? There was a story somewhere here. Let's see if I can find it there. What were they talking? You'd be queuing for 36 hours, something like that. Let's see if I can find that for you. I think it was the Daily Mail. Was it the Daily Mail? Here we are. So this story was posted a little bit earlier on, and it said the nation weeps for its queen. Tearful mourners began to file past the monarch's coffin in Westminster Hall. So that's happening now, and you can watch it as well. I believe the BBC have got a permanent camera there, and you can watch the people going past the coffin. The queue is stretching back 2.6 miles already. And the first person in line is revealed to be Royal superfan 56, who held a vigil since Monday. So he's been out there since Monday, queuing. Him singing crowds of hungry campers eating pizza blessed by God. And military veterans who kept themselves awake to avoid crumpling their clothes are among hundreds of thousands of well-wishers waiting to pay a final tribute to the fallen monarch over the coming days. They're talking of a queue of 5 miles. There may well be 1 or 2 of you who are going to go down there. I don't know. But the trouble is, in a queue like that, it's not like you can think, well, I'll just have an hour's sleep while I'm here, because it's constantly moving, isn't it? I gather they've split up the queue in segments, apparently, and they'll let one segment through and then another one like that. So whether or not you can like sit on the floor for a while or anything like that, I don't know. But it's other things as well. Like I said, what if you want to go to the toilet? Where do you go? Perhaps it's a little bit easier for men who just want to sort of stand there against a tree and no one can really notice. For the ladies, of course, not as easy as that, and not as easy for both sexes if you want to sit down and do like a proper toilet. If you see what I mean. How do things like that happen? I'm sure they've got those portable toilets and things like that. But, if you come out the queue, if that queue's moving at any sort of... I don't know how quick the queue would move, but you might not find your place again, might you? It is something I would like to have done, walk past the Queen, but we can watch it on the telly and kind of do a virtual thing, can't we? Like we did... like churchgoers did when we had the pandemic. We worshipped in front of the television, basically. Anyway, there we are. So there she is now, and she'll lay there until Monday morning when they have to stop the queue. Again, if the queue hasn't got so far by Monday morning at a given time, is it 10 o'clock, I believe? I think it's 10 o'clock or something like that, maybe 9 o'clock. And then they will stop the queue. That's it. You haven't got in. Sorry, they can't wait. Like I said to you before, all these big royal events are timed to the second by people that know what they're doing. Don't they? They will have to cut off the queue, and I'm, sorry, but that's how it is. Well, so there we are now, really till Monday, and between now and then, tens of thousands will walk past the Queen, perhaps lower their heads, pay their respects, and then on Monday is the big funeral, 11 o'clock Monday morning, isn't it? And that's all I was going to say, really. Have you got any thoughts on the Queen? Anything that you really liked about her? Send us a text and I'll read it out. Okay? Let's read some of your texts tonight. Hello to Diane Jeb. Dan the drag queen is there. Good evening, Dan. Who says, highlight of the week was having you come round and enjoying a lovely buffet and drink together. Yeah, I'm helping someone out at the moment, Dan, who will be hosting his first show, hopefully on Reach on Air, on the 20th, Tuesday the 20th, I think he's doing it at 11 o'clock, which is straight after me. Sorry, I beg your pardon, 10 o'clock, which is straight after me on Tuesday. And he needs a little bit of equipment, so that's coming, and hopefully it'll be set up by then. I hope your equipment, if your equipment comes by, what's today? Is it, it's Wednesday today, so Thursday, Friday, I can't help you Friday, can't help you Saturday, Sunday, I could maybe help you Sunday if you can't get it going. So if you've got your equipment by then and you've tried to set it up and you can't, I can come over Sunday. All right? I think that's Sunday, isn't it? Yeah, Sunday. I could come over like Sunday evening or something like that if you need any help there. Good evening to lovely Maureen. Evening to you, Maureen. Evening, Maureen. Evening to Jason. Hello to Noah. Good evening to Noah. Hello, Noah. All right. He's in Alderney Edge, who says, good evening, Chris, at this sad time. Did you know the Queen owned an elephant and a pair of sloths, or as they are more commonly known... I can't read that. You naughty person. I'm not reading that. Thank you very much. John Parrish says, hi, Chris. Horses raise their heads for a number of reasons, but those were due to having too much energy. Or maybe they've been on the old Red Bull, have they? Perhaps they've been on the Red Bull. Hello to Greg. Good evening to you, Greg, who says, you're on early tonight. No, normal time. Normal time. 8 o'clock is when we start this. Never earlier, never later, 8 o'clock. You might have seen the warm-up clock. That's usually a clock on a globe, which I changed tonight as a mark of respect to Her Majesty. Greg says, yes, as you know, I lost my mum recently. I know what the royal families are going through. Yeah, at least you had the time to grieve on your own, Greg, you know, to have to do it all in public. It just takes some doing, doesn't it? Princess Anne reminds me of my mum. It's a running joke in my family. Is that right? Does she? Why is that? Did you? Well, all mums, they do all this stuff for us without any thanks, and often they don't get it either, do they? I was the same. I was terrible, so ungrateful. You know, if I could just turn the clock back 25 years and start thanking my parents for all the things that they did for us. But I gather an awful lot of us are exactly the same, where we do stuff, or where stuff is done for us as children, as teenagers, as young adults, and even as adults. And they don't really get any thanks. Oh, thanks ever so much, Mum, for doing that. But don't I want to say that now? Absolutely. But you can't, because they're gone. There's, I won't say who, but there's a father I know who's got a few children, right? I think there's one that thank him quite a lot, but often he goes out of his way to help them, and you don't get, so he just does whatever he does and gets no thanks or anything in return. And he said to me some time ago, I said, well, I think that's just how it is, because I was exactly the same for my father. My father used to get up at 6:30 on a Saturday morning on one of his days off, because he did like a 9 to 5. He worked for the Evening Standard, you see. And he would get up at 6:30 on a Saturday morning to take me to work, so I didn't have to take my bike on. I'd cycled the rest of the week, but Saturdays, my dad took me. Don't know why, all the way to Wimbledon and back again. Never thanked him, right? And then if I'd finished work and I was outside and he wasn't out there on that road, I'd complain that he was late. Why are we like that as younger people? When I say younger, I was about 20, I think, 21. It's not young, is it? You would have thought by then we'd got some sort of respect in us for older people, or at least gratitude, which for some reason I never had. I don't know why. Now I do. Good God, every night I'm in bed talking to them. I just want to say sorry, Mum and Dad, for this, that and the other. Every night. But we can't turn the clock back, unfortunately. Come on, no, I can't read this stuff out, mate. Not reading this stuff out. Okay, let's just pop into the chat box and see who's there this evening. Hello to Gary Ross. Evening to Gary Ross. Hello to Kelly. Welcome along to the show, Kelly. All right. I'm just going to scroll up quickly. Bear in mind, if I'm in the chat box reading stuff out, quite often I might miss something, okay? The best way to do the message is to send us a text. Oh, by the way, the email doesn't appear to be working. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. For some reason, that's not working at the moment. I've sent the people an email, but my very good friend on Reach On Air, Ross Patzelt, last night, he sent me some music. And I said, well, can you send the music? He said, I have. And I thought, where have you sent it to? So he said, United Kingdom Talk. And I said, well, it's not there. Hang on just a minute. So I then sent myself an email, which didn't arrive. So I don't know why that's not working at the moment. I've had a look at the domain thing, and that all appears to be set up correctly. So I've opened a ticket. We have opened a ticket there, okay? Yes, Kelly, all is well here. Thank you very much for asking, my darling. Evening to Peter Remington. Good evening to you. Christina is in the house. Good evening, Christina. Mandy. Evening, Mandy. You haven't been here for a while. Brew a bit, Rickshaw. Good evening to you. George Bond is there. Evening, George. Dan Woodhouse is there. Is anyone kind of saying anything about this, or are you just chatting again? Big change. Thank you. Brew a bit, Rickshaw. You're saying about the big changes. Brew a bit says, big change indeed. You look dapper. Oh, thank you very much. This is this tie I've only ever worn at my mother's funeral. I'm sure that's the only other time I've worn this one. I do have another one that I generally wear to funerals, which is in this pocket. A bit screwed up. I'll give that a little iron. Oh, do you know what? Have I turned the iron off downstairs? Oh, I must have done, mustn't I? Because I ironed the shirt today. So this only gets warm for my mum's funeral and the Queen's, and that's it. And we're saying about changes. Brew a bit Rickshaw says we went to Green Park at the weekend and we laid some flowers. What an incredible lady she was. That's nice. Going up there and lighting flowers. Me and my mate are probably going up to Windsor at some point tomorrow, either in the afternoon or in the evening, to put some flowers up there, because it's not far for us at all. Don't know what the traffic will be like, but literally Windsor is about 20 minutes from us there. Okay. Kelly says Princess Anne is her only daughter. It must be so hard for her. Oh, you can see it on the video. You can see her face, how difficult it is for her. I don't know how they keep it together. I really don't know how they keep it together. Oh yes, can we have a few thumbs up, a few likes, please? Can we have a few likes? I always forget about likes. I always, for some reason, forget about likes there. Oh, there we are. Dan's tried to send something. Let me just see if it... I bet it hasn't come. Hang on a minute. I don't know why. Something's gone wrong a little bit. Oh, it's working now. I sent some pictures of the Queen outside the Queen's Theatre. Thanks very much for that, Dan. There she is. Oh, that's a few years ago. There's Philip as well there. Thank you, Dan, for those. Kelly said she saw the interview with Danny Boyle. It was good. No, I haven't seen that, unfortunately. It's probably around on YouTube somewhere, isn't it? Did I say hello to Peter Wright? I think I did. Evening to you, Peter Wright. Scrolling up a little bit there, and we're at the top, and back down to the bottom. There we are. I want it in back down to the bottom. Hello to Mark Stone. Evening to Mark. Welcome along to our show there, Mark. Mark's there as well, and Mick Davenport. Texting in, Dan says, all the mixer has arrived. Headphones you recommend. Oh, you've bought some headphones, have you? Oh, you won't go wrong with those. He's bought, I was round Dan's house. It's not far from here, in Maidenhead the other day, doing a show on Reach on Air. He's doing his first one next Monday. And I took these headphones, really just to test out his stuff and that. And he had a pair of headphones. He said, oh, I might get some more. I said, well, these are mine. These are not particularly cheap, I must say, DT770s. Okay. But on the other hand, they're not like Apple prices. These are about 110, 120 now. When I bought these, they were £85. But they last for ages because the wire is really thick. You know, often you get these little headphones, you've got this thin wire and it goes here. All right. And then once it's gone, that's it. But he's bought a set of those. Oh, well, you won't be disappointed with those. Couple of cables, waiting for the Bayringer control red thing, and a couple of more cables. Excellent. Well, if you put it all together, if you can't do it yourself, just let me know and I'll come over on Sunday night, okay? Vera says, I was debating whether or not to go tomorrow to pay my respects to the Queen. Of course, I would have to be there from about 5 in the morning. Standing and walking is okay for me, but the toilet issues would be a problem. And to me as well, Vera. I got a little bit of, it's not too bad, my IBS, but I am affected. For example, if I have a meal, okay, I'll need to use the toilet within about half an hour, 45 minutes. And that's absolutely, it's just how it is, you know. It's absolutely true. If I have a meal, don't get me wrong, don't like fall out. I just need to use the toilet within about half hour, 45 minutes. So I know where you're coming. But if you do go tomorrow, Vera, you say you'd have to be there from 5 in the morning, and the rest, my love. You'll be in that queue for at least 24 hours, I think. Have you got the time to do that or the energy? I don't know how some of these people are doing it, especially the older crowd. I say older, you know, I'd include myself with that. You know, we used to go to bed at 12 o'clock now, or a bit later on Sunday nights at the moment. I'm going to bed later on Sunday nights over the next 3 weeks because, what's this here? Sorry, what was I saying? Mustn't look at messages like that when I'm in full flow. You see what it's done to me? Yes, we're doing something at the moment on Sunday nights. Now, this is not on YouTube, okay? It's only on Reach on Air, okay? And it's a phone-in show. And that's where you can find it, okay? Midnight phone-in on Sunday nights. That's Sunday night into Monday morning, midnight until 1 o'clock in the morning. We've already done the first one. which was quite good, actually. I was very pleased with the results of that. I'm trying that for 4 weeks, so we've got another 3 weeks of this just to see how it goes. And it's a phone-in, and you can call in about anything you want. I'll throw a few subjects out there, because sometimes people think, oh, I'd like to call in, but I don't know what to talk about. Well, you need something to talk about. Absolutely pointless ringing in and saying just wanted to say hello. You need something to talk about. So I give a few suggestions at the beginning, but basically you can ring in and talk about whatever you want. All right, so we're doing that at the moment. That's only on the radio on reachonair.com. Listen by going to reachonair.com. If you've got a smart speaker, all you do is say Amazon, you know her name, play radio station Reach on Air, and she'll play, and it's Sunday night into Monday morning until 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, if you want to listen to it on YouTube, I'm afraid you can't listen live because we're not carrying that particular show on YouTube. However, I will upload the audio from that after the show, probably the next day, okay? And then if you want to, you can listen back to it after that, all right? This week's show is already up there. You've probably seen it already in the menu. You see the poster that I just showed you there. Hang on, let me just show you the poster. By the way, it might be a little bit clunky today. My box of coloured buttons isn't working at the moment. I don't know why that is. The software that I use to bring this program to you, OBS, did an update earlier, and it warned me that some of the plugins wouldn't work. And I thought, okay, well, let's see what doesn't work and what does work. And guess what? The little box of buttons. This is my little box of buttons here, right? Kindly bought for me by my brother-in-law and sister was either last Christmas or the Christmas. I should be able to push these and stuff happens. But as you can see, when I push them, I'm getting that yellow thing come up. And the OBS says in front of me there, this plugin is no longer working. So I guess we're just going to wait for an update. So it's a little bit clunky. I'm having to go up and down my list of bits and pieces like that, for example. Look for that poster, okay, on the YouTube page, and you can hear the phone-in show from Sunday night. All righty. Okay, does anyone else want to say anything else about the Queen? Maybe not, my darlings. Let's move on then. What else have we got here today? Guess what's coming back on the telly? Oh, you won't believe this. What's coming back on the telly? Anyone want to guess? Go on. I'm going now to sing the music to you. Ready? Da 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 da. Any ideas? Come on, what is it? Da 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 da. What's that music? Yes. Here's another clue. Yeah, man. It's Dylan the Rabbit here. Just chilling out. I mean, this was a children's program with a rabbit. Looks like he was smoking drugs most of the time underneath a tree. Who else was in it? What about Zebedee? Does that tell you where it is? Yes, it's the Magic Roundabout. It's coming back. I didn't know, but the original series, it was French. Did you know that? And it was kind of dubbed into English. Well, I say dubbed. I mean, it was all little characters. It wasn't a cartoon. They were like little puppets or plasticine things, weren't they? Wonderful. This is when children's programmes were fantastic and wonderful before the woke clock came in. It's just so blooming fantastic. The Daily Star reports the Magic Roundabout is set to be revived on our TV screens by a French network, aiming to keep the spirit and English humour of the original, only with a bit of European spark. Now, I don't know what they mean by that. European spark, but let's read it. It's time for bed again, after producers announced they will be making new episodes of the Magic Roundabout. Now, I remember the film, the Magic Roundabout film. I'll be honest, that didn't do it for me. It was okay because I'd been brought up with the Magic Roundabout. It was okay, but it wasn't like the series, you know. A new run of the children's favourite is set to be made by a French TV team aimed at preschoolers. The show will be new and exciting while keeping the spirit and English humour of the much-loved British original. You know, the funny thing is there are children out there. There are teenagers out there. There are young people out there who've never seen the Magic Roundabout. And I've got a feeling if you put on the original in front of them, they'd think it was rubbish. I know great-nephew Harry, who's 8 now, I've put stuff on in front of him before. Casey Jones, that's like a train thing. I think Trumpton, Camberwick Green, Chigley, The Herbs, I put that in front of him. And he's like, this is rubbish, Chris. I don't know why they don't like it, really. Anyway, it says on the subject of the Magic Roundabout, the old 60s classic, will come back with 52 11-minute episodes, which will be produced by Media One's Method Animation, the company behind The Little Prince and Robin Hood. Well, I don't know what The Little Prince is. The producer said there's a huge global interest in reviving the programme despite a 2005 attempt at a film flopping. It was awful. The film just... Well, you see, it was done differently, you know. When they made that original series in the past, they were actual things. You know, what were they? Plasticine or puppets? I don't know what they were. But they were actual things that were filmed very cleverly on a camera, probably took a picture, then moved it slightly, took another picture. I mean, take it now it was all done on a computer-generated thing. Nah, it didn't really work for me, I'm afraid. The new series, they're working on it now, is going to take a couple of years, is expected to air in 2024 and will be aimed at a young audience of 3 to 5-year-olds. She hoped it would recreate the magic of the Magic Roundabout. I hope it does. Only 2 years to wait. I hope you're still here. I hate that. They seem to tell you nowadays about stuff that's coming out in 2 years' time, and you're, I hope I'm still here for that. Oh, yeah. I'm very aware of my mortality now, I think. Perhaps more so as I approach my 60th birthday next year. I just can't believe that. Whatever, you know. It says in England, the Magic Roundabout was not just an iconic programme of the 1960s. It was a cultural reference in animation, which indeed it was. But it says, but the context today isn't the same as the 1960s. So we have to find a path between the two. Very difficult. For me, the computer-generated thing just didn't work. That being said, the little people of today are used to computer-generated stuff. It's like all the stuff in those days. Top Cat. It was just a load of pictures. Someone's sitting there drawing little pictures. They take a photograph, they draw another one, take another photograph, and then they put it all together and you've got a cartoon. Now it's just a computer-generated thing, and it doesn't look the same. If you're of an age, you probably say it doesn't look as good. But young people who have grown up with computer-generated cartoons, I'm sorry, but I don't know of any because I don't watch it. Tom and Jerry, for example. Take Tom and Jerry, for example. There are new Tom and Jerry's out there, and when you put them next to the old ones, you think, that don't look right. Well, it's been done differently, that's why. And the kids who are watching those probably think, I'm sure they do, that they are much better than what we had. And we look at it and we think they're nowhere near as good as what we had. I think it's what you grow up with. And I think in a way the children are probably right. Because when we were watching it, you know, there might be a little hair in the frame when they took the picture and little lines and the film's a bit scratchy. Doesn't happen on a computer thing. It's always going to be perfect, isn't it? Because it's all digital. It says, The original show aired in the UK between 1965 and 1977, with a French version also taking place between 1964 and 1974. In 2005, children of a new era could witness the magic of the iconic cast of characters with a release of a motion picture. Its story followed Dougal, that was the dog with the long hair, right? Ermentrude, that was the cow. Moo! Brian, who was the slough, and Dylan, who always looked like he was smoking drugs, on a quest to stop Zebedee's evil twin Zebad. Hang on, who was the lady then? There's a girl in it as well. What was her name? Isn't there a girl in it? There's a character missing there. It says, oh, look, a CGI series was further released in 2007 with more episodes in 2010, but neither of these had the full impact of the classic episodes. I didn't know that. I'll have a look around for it. Let me write that down. Watch Magic. How sad is this? Watch Magic Roundabout. That's probably on the YouTube, is it? Or one of the streaming people roundabout. Eager fans took to social media to enthuse about the reboot, with one penning fantastic news, the return of the Magic Roundabout, and another added some cheer finally. Who was the girl on the Magic Roundabout? Anyone know? Hang on a minute. Who was the... Wasn't there a girl as well? Penelope? Hang on. Oh. Girl on the Magic Roundabout. Wikipedia. Come on, characters. The main character is Dougal. Okay. Right, Dougal. Zebedee. Brian. Ermentrude. Dylan. Florence. That's it. Florence. Did I say Florence? Florence. That's it. A young girl. And Mr. Rusty, the elderly moustached operator of the roundabout. I don't remember Mr. Rusty. Don't remember him. Yeah, it was Florence. Florence on the Magic Roundabout. I love it. Thank you, Vera. Florence. There we are. Wonderful. Diane Jeb says, Magic Roundabout. Yes, she's pleased that's going to happen. I am too. Gary Ross. Hello, Chris. Joining late tonight. Don't worry, Gary. That's all right, mate. At least you're there. Gary Ross says, hello, Chris. Joining late tonight. Just drove back from Newtownards. In regards to the late Queen, the thing which makes me feel proud of her was I woke up every day knowing she was our Queen. I grew up living through the Northern Ireland Troubles. I was lucky enough to be able to talk about it today, but unfortunately there is others, because of their British nationality, lost their lives. Thank you, Gary. Maureen says, I'm trying to sort myself out knees. Yeah, Maureen's got bad knees at the moment. Those of you that watch our YouTube stream on the channel Karaoke London on Friday and Saturday nights may have noticed Maureen's having a little bit of trouble getting up the steps. She's got a real trouble with her knees at the moment. And actual facts, I was talking to Maureen. I hope you don't mind me telling people this morning. She's sleeping on the settee at the moment. She can't get up the stairs. I did say on Friday, was it Friday night you were there or both nights? Yeah, I was only there Friday this week. I did say to Maureen Friday, she can sit at the table. If you're disabled, right, and you want to come to the karaoke, please come. Right, as long as you can get in the door, you don't have to come on the stage. I can always bring the microphone to you, and there's a big screen which you can't see in the audience, and you can always sit at your position at your table, in your wheelchair, whatever, and you can join in like that. You know. We try and make it as accessible to everyone you want, everyone as possible who wants to come and sing. We used to have a lovely man come. Rory was his name. He hasn't been for quite a while. He was in a wheelchair, and he used to just sing at the table. You know, other people, even though they're disabled, right, want to struggle up onto the stage. They don't want it to beat them, and that's completely understandable as well. I think I'll probably be one of those. You know, there's another bloke, Robert. Again, I haven't seen him for some time now. He's still around though, and he has a very bad lung condition. Whereas this for me now is quite very rare. I use this because I have this new double thing, duo something that I use in the morning and at night. So I very rarely use this. Well, this bloke was on this every 5 minutes. When he comes up to sing, he'll have about 5 puffs of this before he starts singing. He's got the oxygen mask and he brings his tank up onto the stage. It's no problem at all. But Maureen wanted to struggle up onto the stage, but she has got very bad knees at the moment. And Maureen says, I'm trying to sort myself out with my knees. I saw the doctor on Monday. She sent me to 2 hospitals, X-ray on both my legs for muscle spasm. Now awaiting my results. So good luck with that, Maureen. They were very quick with that, weren't they, my love? Good. Excellent service, isn't it, eh? Excellent service indeed. Excellent service. Okay. Just quickly short out there. Bum bum ba-dum bum. Where are we now? Scrolling up there. Oh, sorry. Jamie, Kelly likes Jamie and the Magic Torch. Button Moon. I know Button Moon. Yeah. The Clangers. That was a bit weird, weren't it? We love the Clangers. We love the Clangers. All those other ones I mentioned, Trumpton, Chigley, Camberwick Green, Pogle's Wood. Who remembers Pogle's Wood? That was good. I like that. I didn't like Finger Bobs. Didn't like that one. Rhubarb and Custard. Da-na-na-na, 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 da-da, da-da-da-da. Oh, Captain Pugwash. Da that one. Captain Pugwash. All these old little children's programs. Just trying to think of any others actually. Wacky Races, that was good. Wacky Races, Dastardly and Muttley the dog. Oh, wonderful stuff on the telly, weren't it, eh? You could, if you've got any stuff you want to talk about, telly-wise, you could call in on Sunday night when we do our brand new phone-in show on Reach on there. We're trying this out for another 3 weeks just to see how it goes. It's on Sunday night into Monday morning, midnight until 1 o'clock in the morning, okay? We did quite well for calls, actually, this week. As I've said before, if you're ever doing a radio show or a video show or a television show, and it involves calls, never, ever base your show on calls, right? Because you might not get any. It happens. Oh, it happens on LBC. Happens on LBC, right? And believe me, I did try going along. Oh, we've got a little, that's very kind. We've got a tip coming there. Thank you very much to OE this evening. Thank you very much. Owie has sent us a little tip this evening. Thank you very much, Owie. It's very kind of you to do so. £2.49 as the price of a cup of tea, isn't it? What, not in Starbucks? Owie. That's the price of a cup of tea at the little stand at Bracknell train station. Not the Starbucks one. But I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much. He sent me this as well. What does that mean? Something? I don't know what that means actually. Does that mean something? Thank you, Rory. Very grateful for the tip there. Thank you to you, sir. Yeah, you could call in on Sunday night perhaps and talk about some of these little shows. But once again, it is only on radio, not on YouTube. You can watch a recording or listen to a recording of the show on YouTube afterwards if you want to. All right, Thunderbirds. Thank you, Rory. Da, 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 da. And then you had all those other ones like Thunderbirds and Mysterons. We are the Captain Scarlet, Terrorhawks. I'll get you, Zoid! Oh, wonderful programmes, weren't they, Harry? Thunderbirds and all that. Weird City loves old school cartoons. Wacky Races, there you go. Hong Kong Phooey, faster than a human eye. That one, wonderful. Inspector Gadget, says Ori. Absolutely. Fraggle Rock. Willow the Wisp. There's one. Willow the Wisp. Yeah. Mr. Ben. Oh, I like Mr. Ben. He would go in this room, change, then come out the door, and then he'd be in somewhere else, wouldn't he? Fantastic. Mr. Ben. We all like, I think everyone liked Mr. Ben, didn't they? Andy Pandy. Andy Pandy comes to play. Hey, la 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 la. We all know the tunes, don't we? We all know these tunes. Kelly doesn't like it when they change the children's programmes. Me neither, Kelly. But you know, time has to move on. We can't stop it. Sadly. Because I'd like to sometimes, wouldn't you? I always remember saying to my mum years ago, you know, what age? I bet you'd like to be 18 again. Oh, no, she said no. If anything, around about 30, 32. And I'm the same now. Just approaching 60 now next year. I would like to be 32 again. That's when I was having the most fun. Absolutely. 32. 32 to 47. That's where I'd like to be. Anywhere between there. 32 and 47. Great time. Blooming fantastic. Especially at 40. Fantastic time I was having at 40. Having a laugh? Oh, I don't want to be 40. You must be joking. Fantastic time. Those of you who are well over 40 now, okay, will know what I mean by that. It's a fantastic time to be alive, 40 years old. Not 20s. I wouldn't want to be 20 again. No, thank you. No, I'd like to delete the period 16 to 27. I'd like to delete that period, please. Thank you very much. Not a particularly good time. Thank you. Talking about the magic roundabout there. Kids programs. All right, scroll back down to the bottom there. Kelly's off now. Cheerio, Kelly. Thanks for joining us tonight, my darling. Deputy Dog. Oh, my God, yeah, that's an old one, isn't it, Mick? Deputy Dog. Deputy Dog. Littlest Hobo and Lassie. Top Cat there from Gary Ross. Top Cat. Da-da-da-da-da. The most factual Top Cat. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Most cats cat to call him TC. That one. Lovely. Fantastic. Fantastic. Super Gran, I've heard of that one. Don't think I watched it. There we are. Texting in there. Rosie and Jim. Rosie and Jim. Da, 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 da. Now, how can you be knowing these? You're too young to know this. Catweasel. You knew Catweasel. Really? Because I don't think that's ever been repeated, has it, Dan? Have you actually seen Catweasel, Dan? Where did you see it? Da 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 da. I think you know the boy in it, Carrot. He's nearly 60 now. That was great. That was on London Weekend Television, and it was on originally on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. I know that, right? Because I wanted to watch it on the telly, and Mum and Dad used to take us out. Me and my sister, they'd take us out every Sunday, except when Catweasel started, I didn't want to go anymore because I wanted to stay in and watch Catweasel. And they let me, actually. They let me stay at home on my own and watch Catweasel. The little frog in his pocket. Touchwood the frog. You remember that? Touchwood the frog. See, I can talk about all these old TV programmes in the 70s and early 80s, but I can't really talk about programmes in the 90s or the noughties, really, because it just got crap. I just don't like a lot of the stuff on the telly. I really struggle to find stuff. I find a lot of it very fake. And they want to bring back gladiators, and I find that, oh, God, you know, just standing there with their muscles like, I mean, what are you doing, mate? Whereas I would say to you, It's a Knockout was almost the original version of Gladiators, but it was nothing like Gladiators. But we enjoyed it because it was fun. It wasn't. It was about winning, and we used to. The host Stuart Hall, who was done for touching people up, was. I don't think it was Stuart Hall. I don't think it was paedophile, was it? It was. touching up young ladies on his show and all that. I can't remember what he did now, but I mean, he was the host and he just sent everything up, just laughing his head off all the time. He used to lay into the foreigners. It was just hilarious. Hilarious. And Gladiators is nothing like that, but you can see like it's kind of a cheap copy of that. Whereas the sole thing is about winning. There's no comedy in it. You watch this a knockout, you can find them on YouTube. Watch this a knockout on YouTube. Or Jeux en Frontières. JEXFRANSFRONTIEUX. Great theme tune as well. Da, 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 da. What they did is they took little bits of music from all the countries that were participating because it was international, right? And they slung them all together and made a theme tune out of it. Our bit is da 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 da. Oh no, I think that's the French bit, isn't it? It goes right at the end. It goes da 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 da, which is of course da 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 da. So that's our Rule Britannia bit right at the end. There's a bit I recognise the French bit. What goes da 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 da. Recognise that in there as well. It's great. Watch them. Watch them. Dan the drag queen has seen every. Catweasel and Bagpuss. Emily and Bagpuss was my mum's best friend. Bagpuss. You can buy those, can't you? Bagpusses. Rosie and Jim. Da, 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 da. I remember that one. I've seen every episode of what's Tellybone? My dad has them all on DVD. Do you mean Catweasel? Do you mean Catweasel? Check your text before you send them there. All right. Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah. Thomas the Tank Engine was all right. Strangely enough, I wasn't really into that one. I mean, I like trains. I take great interest in trains and that. Yeah, I tell you what I saw the other day. I couldn't believe it. Hang on. Hornby. You know Hornby? I have some trains. I have one here. This was my favourite ever birthday present. Christmas present. 16 I was at the time. That is my original, very first ever electric train. Don't know if it still goes. If it doesn't, I happen to know you can send these things away and have them repaired at a cost, of course, you know. Anyway, I had this electric train set, Christmas, 16 years old, and it's set out in my bedroom, just watched the train go round and round. I loved it. And of course, you know, when you're that age, you think to yourself, you know, when I get older, you get a house, you'll have a nice big layout in a spare room or something like that, maybe. But it never happened. And I have a spare room. I have a spare room, a large spare room. I do. People say, well, why don't you rent that out? Well, I did. I did for a while, and eventually they moved out. A few people have stayed here. But then I think once you've been on your own, I was having a very good conversation with my friend Danny, who lives up in Cleethorpes, about this the other day. And the same thing's happened to him. He was with a few other halves for a while, and then he moved to Cleethorpes. Unfortunately, he got into certain things, and he had to get out of London to get away from it all. Partying a little, should we say partying a little bit too much, yeah. And kind of lost control a bit. Anyway, he moved to Cleethorpes. He's been there for a few years, and he's got his own flat there and lives on his own. And I'm having a conversation only this morning with him because he stayed here for a while, and I didn't go out with him or anything like that. But he slept in the same bed as me, and actually, there's nothing happened or anything like that. Oh, I don't want to say this without sounding like a. How can I say this now? Oh, I've dug myself into a hole here. Now, just a minute. How am I going to get out of this now? Out of the people that have stayed here, shall we say? Can I just say that? That's enough, isn't it? That's all you need to know. Over the years, the people that have stayed, out of all those, he was the best person, for some reason, to sleep with me. Nothing went on, and honestly, it really didn't. And I don't know why that was. It's funny, isn't it? Funny, isn't it? Just how it is. Anyway, I was saying to him on the phone, he was saying to me on the phone earlier, he can't imagine anyone staying in his flat, ever. And I'm a bit like that here. I've got this lovely spare room there which I could rent out. I could have a little bit of money. I don't know, what, but £100 a week? It's not bad, is it? £400 a month. I could have someone there, but I think, and there must be one or two of you out there as well, once you've been on your own, I don't necessarily mean not in a relationship, living on your own, that's what I mean. Once you've been living on your own for a while, I think perhaps one becomes a bit selfish. I mean, dare I tell you, one of the worst things is to get up, oh, I'm just going to make a cup of tea, and someone's used all the milk. Shock horror, you know. And he was saying that as well, you know, you can't imagine anyone staying there ever with him again. He's a bit like me, you know, after a couple of hours he wants to go. I'm like that. I can't put up with people for more than a couple of hours. Certain people even less, to be honest. Anyway, let's have a look. Dan says you could get £200 a week for a large room in Bracknell. Yeah, £800 a month I could be getting for that room there, but I don't think it would work. You know, I walk around the house looking for stuff to do now. You know, if someone was here as well, then you'd have to think, oh, I don't want to wake that person up, you know, especially if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. It would bother me. So my bedroom's next door there. This is the little studio. That's the spare room there, right? The bathroom is next to the spare room. You know, if I'm getting up like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, fancy a wee, you know it is when you live on your own. You just walk out your room completely naked to the toilet. You wee straight onto the water so it makes loads of noise. Then you flush the chain and you go back and a few floorboards squeak as you walk up the hall. Well, it would bother me that it would disturb that person in the other room. Also, of course, if I'm in my bedroom, say for example, or night or daytime, because you know I have a couple of hours sleep in the afternoon, right? They might want to go downstairs and watch the telly. Right, well, the telly's directly underneath my bedroom. And it would bother me making any sort of noise, for example, turning over in the bed, right, that they could hear that noise downstairs. And similarly, I don't think I could sleep if I had the dead sound of a telly coming up through the floorboards. Wouldn't be very loud, but it would be on. And, you know, you'd probably hear, I don't know, what have I got here? Yeah, but, I've got something to show you. I've got new things to show you today. New things, right? You know, I don't want to get that up now because you're about. So the telly's downstairs. You're upstairs in the bedroom. And you'd hear that coming up. I wouldn't be able to sleep. No, not even for the sake of £800, Dan. The lad who used to rent off me, Lewis was his name. He was all right. I used to charge him £50 a week, £50. Or was it £50 a month? No, I think it was £50 a week, and that was 1999, I think it was. He was here for a couple of years, about 1999. £50. And I went on this holiday and was talking to older people who had properties and that. I said, oh, I rent a place there. Oh, how much do you charge? I said, well, it's just a room. What's he charge? £50, they said. Is that all? I said, yeah. Oh, you should be charging much more than that. I said, well, I'm kind of happy with that. What should it be? And they're like 80, minimum 80. Really? Yeah. Anyway, so I came back and I thought about it and I thought, well, I'm charging him £50. And he'd been there a while and, you know, stuff does go up. Electric goes up, mortgage goes up, all this goes up. And I thought, do you know, I'll ask for another £5. So I said, I'm going to put the rent up. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to put the rent up, 55. Oh, no, I can't afford that. I'm going to move out. And he moved out. And I thought it was a fair price, 55. They were telling me £80. But he moved out. And then that was it, really. Never really saw him much ever again after that. I don't think I would be greedy. I wouldn't want to be known as a greedy person, you know. And there's so many of them. I mean, just look at the people making the gas and electricity for us all. How greedy are they? or someone along the line's greedy. I don't think necessarily it's the electric and gas companies. It's the people that make the stuff. What do they say? Global prices. Pfft, what a cheek. Vera, the original non-speaking Tom and Jerry with Mammy. Who was Mammy? Oh, was that the big black lady? Oh, she was hilarious. Did we ever get to see her face? Thomas! Now they've banned her, haven't they? Because someone said it was offensive. I very much... I don't understand how that was offensive. The lady in Tom and Jerry. Thomas! What did she do? Did anyone put her in chains and start treating her like a slave? Did anyone talk down to her? No. She was just like Thomas's kind of mum, if you see what I mean. The person who owns the cat, wasn't it? Don't know why they banned her. Ludicrous. Some idiot. Pop into the chat box. Bum. It's built in Scotland. Good evening to you, Mr. Built in Scotland. Welcome along there. Built in Scotland is in the buff now. Please, come on, put some clothes on if you're going to watch me, will you? Hello to Adam Tubero. Evening, Adam. The plumber's here. We've got a spare room in our house. I was thinking of renting it out, but we have now decided to foster or adopt instead. Is that right? Wow. That's good on you, Adam. Wow. I would imagine adopting a very small person, almost like a baby. I don't know which would be easier. If you foster like a teenager, you've already got, no disrespect to a teenager who's had problems, but they will already have had some sort of problems of something. Whether it's with a baby, you could bring them up in sort of the right way. I don't know. It's something I've never really thought of there. I don't know how easy it is to do adoption stuff anymore. I was adopted. I don't know if you know that. I was adopted from a very young age, so young that I can't remember. I don't even remember Mum and Dad telling me, but they must have done so at some point. I feel like I always knew I was adopted, and it's great, really. Yeah, it's great if you can give your lives to someone like that. Adam the plumber, and good evening to you, sir. Good evening to you, sir. Hello to Paul and Lou. It's our biggest losers. Greetings to you. All right. Scroll up quickly. Top and towed, Chris. No, not quite, Mick. Scrolling up quickly there. Adam, do you remember the show Monkey with a very badly dubbed Chinese martial arts? Yes, I do. We loved that, though. Really enjoyed that programme, Monkey. Did he ever make a film? Did they ever make a film of that Monkey? He was doing all this martial arts, wasn't he? There's a similar sort of thing. Actually, it's not similar at all. Oh, God, what's it on Netflix? What was the film? There was a film, or a couple of films, with this old man and a little boy, martial arts. What's that film? Do you know the one I mean? That's a TV series, or several TV series. Oh, God. Kai something. Cobra Kai, that's it, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai, that's on Netflix. That's quite good, although I haven't watched it recently. Biker Grove, Gary Ross remembers that one. Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? The Banana Splits, la 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 la. Of course you remember Grange Hill. She died, Mrs. McCluskey this week. Mrs. McCluskey has died. Your favourite headmistress on Grange Hill. Can't believe it. Who was after her? Was it Mr. Bronson? Was he a headmaster? Can't remember now. Mrs. McCluskey, she's the one. She's our leader. She died this week. Gwyneth Paltrow, something like that, her name. Muppet Show was epic. Wonderful. Wonderful. Rent a Ghost. Render Ghost, Littlest Hobo. Don't remember that one. Littlest Hobo. Thank you. Pete says, you were lucky, Chris. You went to a good family. I was very lucky, Pete. I sit here in absolute honesty to tell you my mother and father never put a foot wrong. I did. Oh, God, I can't count the amount of times. The amount of times I put a foot wrong, my mother and father never put a foot wrong. I didn't interfere. You know, they never put a foot wrong. Thank you very much. Adam the Plumber remembers the A-Team as well. We're talking like little children's programmes. Anyway, can I show you this stuff? I've been to Primark this week. Let me just do these two texts here. Vera, Kung Fu is the original series. I remember that. Kung Fu. And Vera also says, I've got a spare room too, but I'm quite happy living on my own. If I rented the room out, it means I'd have to give them the freedom to allow them to bring their friends and family round, who I may not know, into my flat. And that's the problem, isn't it? Well, actually, my lodger used to bring friends round after he'd been out raving. And it wasn't till years later that they moved out. And I was talking to my lovely, you couldn't wish for better neighbours than I've got. Dave and Karen, who are next door. And next door to them is Tim and his and his missus. Tim's not very well at the moment. He's been fighting cancer now for over a year. It started off with like things on his leg that were like, I don't know what you call them really. I can't think of the name. Not boils, sores, like sores on his leg, and they just couldn't cure them. Antibiotics he tried, and in and out of hospital, and I believe he's home now, and has been home for some time, but we haven't seen him. Get a lot of nurses go in and out, and you know, you can't ask them every time, oh, how's Tim doing? I don't feel I should ask them every time, really, because of course the people looking after the person also need a little bit of comfort and support when you're dealing with something like that. So I don't know how well he is, but he's a lovely man, Tim. And next door to him is Babe Station Pearl. You know, she's the oldest one. She's in her 70s, and she's wonderful. She's down the end. She's been here ever since these houses were built. So we've got fantastic neighbours, Dave. And anyway, years later, after Lewis moved in, when Dave still had his children there, they've all got married and gone away now. One of them said to me, she said, when you used to have your noisy mate there. And I'm like, what noisy mate? You know, the one who used to live there. I said, was he noisy? Oh, yes, sometimes we could hear him and his friends in a bedroom when you were at work. Oh, I never knew. And I'm like, why on earth didn't you say something? Oh, it didn't bother us, really. Well, it would bother me, the fact that you were bothered. I wish they'd have said something, but he didn't. You know, I've said to you before on this programme, I'd be absolutely mortified if my neighbour ever had to knock on my door and say, please turn down the music. I'd be really upset at that. Because the last thing I'd ever want to do is upset a neighbour. You know. Dan, Hartley Hare was another naughty kid show. Yeah, Hartley Hare. Another rabbit. I think they were obsessed with rabbits years ago, Dan. I've run over a few in my time. It's not a nice experience running over a rabbit, because no one aims the car for a rabbit. They just suddenly appear from nowhere. Mind you, cats as well. Cats as well. Sometimes you accidentally go over there. Jason. My mum and dad supported me 100%. They taught me values, but let me learn by my mistakes. Yeah, I think mine were the same, really. I can remember my mum saying, you've made your bed, you've got to go and lie in it now. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, where were we going then? I think we were going somewhere else then. Oh, yes, I want to show... Can I just show you what I bought at Primark this week? I can't believe it. First of all, pair of new slippers. I did try and repair the other ones. Now, if you used to watch the morning show, when we did this show every morning, you may remember we had a lovely lady who used to watch Alton's wife, and I'm desperately searching for a name. Oh, God, come on now. Alton, hang on a minute. Let me just see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find her name. Don't know why I can't, but we don't see her anymore. Possibly because we're on at night time. I don't know. Why can't I remember her name? Oh gosh. Oh, that's annoying. Nope. It's not got it on there. Oh God, her name's right on the tip of my tongue. I have a problem with names at the moment. For some reason, I'm struggling to remember names. Even when, like, someone's standing in front of me that I knew years ago. It was a member of staff the other day, one of the managers, Nigel. And he's standing in front of me, and I'm like, all right. And his name was just not there for some reason. Anyway, she bought me a pair of slippers years ago. Do you remember it? When we used to do the morning show. They have now, the bottoms come off them. I've had them about 3 years. Decent pair of slippers they were. Anyway, I did try and repair them with these little sticky fixers, which are like a bit of sponge with sticky either side. Didn't work. The trouble is, once that bit at the bottom comes loose, it starts flapping, and you can be walking along, worse on stairs, and if it turns under while you're walking along, you slip up, and it's very dangerous. So I chucked them away, and I thought I'd go down to Primark and get myself a pair of slippers, and indeed I did. And here are my new slippers. There we go. Now, I must say, they don't feel quite as good quality, but we'll see how they go. Smell all right, love. Oh, I've still got my label on the bottom there, look. So here's my slippers. £5. I thought, shall I order them on Amazon? But you may remember me telling you, I'm trying to get away from Amazon at the moment, right? They've just put up their fee, their Amazon Prime fee to about £95 from £75. I don't want to pay it, and it runs out. I think I pay annually, and it runs out in December, so I'm probably going to cancel it. I didn't get it for the whole video store, the Prime Video. I didn't get it for that. I got it for the free parcels. But over the last few months, I've been going down to shops and buying stuff and realising it's actually much cheaper to go and buy an item from a shop rather than have Amazon deliver it. It may say free delivery, right? But the best example I can give you is an insect spray that I use in the garden, Bug Clear or something like that, right? Amazon, $9.99. Okay, that's fine. That's probably what it is. But then I went into Sainsbury's Home Base, and it was $4.45, half the price. So it's not free parcels. They just add it on to the price. Right? And I've come across this a few times now with different things. Slippers. I think I found some slippers on there for about £12, would it be? Let me have a look. Let's see what we can find. The cheapest slippers on Amazon. Hang on. Men's slippers. Men's slippers, let's go. Price low to high. The cheapest ones there are. Oh, hang on. Men's slippers, low to high. Well, where's the blooming prices then? 14p. How can I have slippers for 14p? Don't be silly. Hang on, let's click on something. It don't say. Why don't it say the price? Oh, here we are. Oh, right, okay. So here we've got Millennium's slippers. They're ladies. Men's. Okay. They're 99p, £11.99 delivery. Right? So £12.98. And they come at the end of September the 28th to October the 4th. They're the cheapest ones on there. They say they're 99p and it's £11.99 delivery. There you go. Primark, thank you very much. £5. So that's what I went in for, and I went into the Primark after church. Okay. While I was in there, I thought, I'll just have a look at the jumpers because we want to get ourselves ready for winter now. Yeah, because there's no eating going on anywhere, dear. Good God, no. Good God, no. We must keep the heating off. So I thought I'd buy another couple of jumpers. I haven't bought jumpers for years. I got perfectly good jumpers, but I thought, no, I'll have a look while I'm here. And I got this one. Lovely, right? £14, this. That's quite thick, that one. It's all right, isn't it? £14, large. Okay. Oddly enough, I bought another jumper while I was in there, and it's 2XL. And yet it's the same price as that one, because you don't want a tight jumper. You want it nice and loose and comfortable. And wait for this. You're going to love the colour of this. Here we are. And this one, this is thinner, and this is only £9. Look. Isn't that a lovely colour, that one? Oh, that looks grey to you, doesn't it? There we are. Hold it back a bit. That's the colour blue. Does that look? It looks grey when I bring it. Look at that. It changes colour. Look at that. Look. That's the colour blue. Right? So look, 2XL, that one. And that one is large. There we go. £20 for all those things. How fabulous is that? £20. Fabulous. Not only that, I did order something on the Amazon. A pair of trainers. Now, usually trainers, £12, right? But if I'm wearing them out, I can't really wear the £12 ones if I'm going out somewhere or at work. The £12 ones I wear for walking to and from the swimming pool, going litter picking. And I have to say, there seems to be more and more litter appearing at the moment. That journey I do once a week, I now do twice a week. Don't know why that is. I'm filling up these bags of rubbish. It's scum, darling, scum, dropping their crap all over the place. That's what it is, scum. All right? So I thought I'd buy myself a pair of decent trainers. And I don't know if I showed you the white ones that DJ Chris bought me for my birthday this year. Lovely pair of trainers. Really, really nice white ones that I often wear at work. I wanted that same brand. And for £29, great nephew Harry chose this colour. So be warned. If you don't like these, then my nephew's wife may be watching this programme. And if you say they're a horrible colour, after knowing that great nephew Harry chose them, you'll have to deal with my nephew's wife. I wouldn't do that, okay? Take it from me, don't cross my nephew's wife, because I've seen people do it. They do not come off very well. All right, be warned. Great nephew Harry chose this colour. Here they are. These are fabulous. Look at those. I love it. Huh? So I've got a white pair and I've got these pair now. 29 quid, size 9. They're very, very light. What's it say here? Weight, 5,000. What's that say? Weight securing. I wonder if that's supposed to say system and they've spelt it wrong. So these are just so trainers, just so. You can see them there. And these are really good. I've had the other pair now. As I say, DJ Chris. New smell. Oh, I do like. Oh, do you know what they smell like? I tell you what. You know how smells remind you of stuff? That smell takes me back to being in Florida, being in the trainers shop, big trainer shop. We have them here now. Not JD Sports, not King of Trainers, big trainers shop. Someone tell me what that's called. Big trainer. They're all over America. And I went into this massive one in Florida for the first time when I was there years ago. And the smell, it's just like being there now. Oh, lovely smell. Some people have a bit of fetish on trainers, don't they? Probably one or two of you have, actually. Gary Ross, I would imagine, would be someone with a bit of a fetish trainer. Oh, thank you, Denise. That's her name, Gary. Denise, that's the one. Denise. Thank you. No, it's not here. It's on the inside, isn't it? Oh, it's like being back in Florida, about to go to Disney. Oh, I love it. What's the name of that big trainer shop? Come on, someone tell me. Anyway, what do you reckon on the colour? Remember, great nephew Harry chose them. Don't upset my nephew's wife. She'll come down on you like a ton of bricks, and believe me, that will be painful. Look who it is. Thank you very much. Nice to have you with us today. Okay. An anonymous person. You know who you are. Thanks for sending in a message. I hope you're doing okay. If you can tap, do you manage to get the radio show as well or not? George Bond is there. Hello, George. George is Amazon. He's called his one Amazon instead of the other name. You can't win, can you? Vera says, I love the colour of your trainers. Your great nephew Harry did well, of course. I turned up once years ago in a pair of red trainers. He hated them. I remember walking into their house. I said, hello, Uncle Chris. He was 5 at the time. He looked down at my trainer. What have you got on? 5 years old. So he could get. So I slapped him. Not really. Not really. Thank you, Gary Ross. Foot Locker is the place I'm looking for. Foot Locker. Sorry, do you mind? Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Oh, that's a lovely smell, isn't it? Do you like the smell of new things? Like, remember records? You used to, if it was covered in plastic, you used to slit that piece of plastic and smell all the chemicals. I suppose they were all chemicals, weren't they, really? Isn't it funny? Hang on. I just want to. Is it Primark? No, it's Primark, isn't it? Let me just do. Just updating my little menu so I don't have so much to do afterwards. I forget stuff. As you know, we have a menu to the show. That's the stuff that we can talk about. We often don't talk about some of the stuff and move on to other stuff, so I change it. Jason Hughes says those trainers are not my taste. Just the black ones for me. I'll just copy and paste that, and I'll be sending that over to my nephew's wife. Thank you very much. Just a moment now, please. Where are we? Stacey Butler. Sorry, Jason. Stacey. Jason Hughes doesn't like the colour of the trainers Harry chose for me. Thought you should know. Get you into trouble, Jason. Expect a message from my nephew's wife, mate. You're going to wish you hadn't said that. I'm not usually one to stir the pot. I'm really not. You wait, mate. You wait. Okay. Right, what else have we got here? George, we won't lose Chris if he wears those trainers. I'm sure we won't. All right. Let's move on. Oh, good news! You won't have to. Now, I couldn't believe this story. Centre Parcs. Have you seen this on the news? Right. Centre Parcs. Now, obviously, Her Majesty has died, and no one. I don't think you have to, but certain things have closed down or will close down. Certainly on the day of her funeral. I know that Tesco's, Aldi, Asda, Waitrose, I definitely know those supermarkets are closing on the Monday. It is, I think, a bank holiday. But generally, these days, bank holidays, it's up to whoever's running the place whether or not they want to close or open. I'm not sure what I want to do with the radio show on Monday. As you know, the day after the Queen died, I did do a radio show, and I completely changed it to what I normally do. And it wasn't happy, and it wasn't bouncy. I changed all the music, which is usually dance-orientated music, as you know, to stuff the Queen likes and some stuff of to show a little bit of respect. So I feel I've done that. I'm not sure, because I want to watch the whole of the funeral on the television. I'm not sure whether I should even do a radio show Monday, and if I do, I'm kind of going on. I don't want it to sound. I would never want it to sound disrespectful, but I've done the bits where the music suited that moment. Now, on the day of the funeral, I think I've been trying to think very carefully about this because I really don't know what to do. I'm thinking I might play the music that I usually play, but the bits of music I talk over will be more like solemn type things like Nimrod, and perhaps instrumental versions of stuff like Land of Hope and Glory, Rule Britannia, that sort of thing. So I'm thinking of going down that route. So I'm not quite sure what to do yet. Or I may just kind of close it down and not do it. I haven't decided yet. But you really wouldn't expect, if you're on holiday, to have to go home for a night, would you? What a stupid thing. If you're on holiday and it's the Queen's funeral on this particular day, you wouldn't expect to have to go home the night before and then come back the day after. You just wouldn't, would you? I mean, what a crazy thing that would be. Well, Centre Parcs thought you should do this. Centre Parcs, extremely expensive holidays. Okay? Good holidays, but expensive. And there's an awful lot of extras to pay on these holidays as well. That's what they were expecting to do. They were going to completely close down on the Mondays. So anyone there would have had to go home. And it's just crazy. What on earth were they thinking? Anyway, they've turned around. The Sun is reporting Centre Parcs has announced it will no longer close all of its parks. I don't know where these people come from. Right? Now and again, you see a story, someone has decided something, and you thought, what absolutely crazy idiot has decided to do that? It is not a mark of respect at all. It is just someone's crazy head that has decided to try and do this. Well, it's all backfired, of course. Centre Parcs has announced in The Sun it will no longer close all of its parks on the bank holiday Monday for the Queen's funeral in a major U-turn. Now, what would you do? If you was on holiday, the Queen's having a funeral, you'd want to watch it at your holiday place, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to have to come home and go back the next day. You'd watch it there. If I was running Centre Parcs, I would run it as normal, and then somewhere, I don't know what they have there. I've never been. I can only talk from Pontins because that's where I used to go. So I would have gone into the ballroom, hired one of those great big massive tellies and put it on there, connected the sound system to the sound system in the ballroom, and everyone could have watched it in there. That would make sense to me. Or maybe you've got some sort of outdoor thing where you can have a big screen or something like that. That would make... In actual fact, Bracknell Town Centre, we got an email today, funnily enough, which I'll see if I can just bring up here. Here we go. Her Majesty the Queen Memorial Service, which are happening at the church. Here we go. Live coverage. This is in Bracknell, here in Bracknell, of the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, Bond Square in Bracknell. Residents are invited to watch the funeral of Her Majesty the Queen in Bond Square, which is like a big area where they do stuff, like little shows and things like that. In Bond Square on Monday the 19th of September, Bracknell Forest Council has arranged for live coverage to be shown in the town centre to give residents and visitors the opportunity to watch the historic moment and reflect collectively as a communal. Must admit, right, I wouldn't expect a council to do something like that, but they are. Top marks. So why on earth would a holiday place not think of something like that? Honestly, you couldn't make it up. And probably these holiday places have already got screens. They won't have to bring anything in. Most of these places, they've got one of those drop-down screens, and they've got like a projector on there in the, for example, when they do bingo. When they do bingo, they have the bingo numbers come up on this big screen and what have you. And then it might flick to something else, like adverts for the holiday centre that you're at. And there'd be a camera somewhere in the hall when there's a show on. The camera's on the stage. And these things must be connected to the television. Well, they are. They show sports things on there. Why on earth would you close down a place where people are on holiday for the day? That's what they were going to do. The holiday firm, It Goes in the Sun, was hit by a tirade of backlash saying families would have to leave sites up and down the country for the day. Complaints flooded in after it revealed that its 5 parks would close for 24 hours from 10 o'clock on Monday for the Queen's funeral. Guests partway through their holidays would have been forced to spend the night elsewhere or go home early. You couldn't make it up, could you? Those due to arrive on Monday were going to be given the opportunity to begin their breaks a day later. So if you were due to go there Monday, they said, don't come till Tuesday. I'm sure they'd give you back the money, but that's neither here nor there. These midweek holidays, well, they only last for 3 or 4 days as it is. If you lose one of those days, there's no point in going, is there? Bloody idiots. We are surrounded by stupid people. We are. Centre Parcs said in a statement that it made its decision as a mark of respect. It's not a mark of respect closing your holiday parks when there's thousands of people staying in there. What it is stupidity. It's stupidity. Okay, cancel the shows if you want. Cancel your swimming competition. Cancel stuff that's going on at the time of the funeral or even that day. But don't close the bloody parks, idiots. Oh, there's just so much stupidity in this world. I can't get over it, love. And it gets worse and worse and worse when you watch the news and some of the crap people come out with and you think, how stupid are you? Don't you? Well, Centre Parcs certainly are in this book. They said they made the decision as a mark of respect and allow as many of our colleagues as possible to be part of this historic moment. I'm telling you now, if you ask the staff if they want to work, there will probably be some people who do want to work. And if none of them want to work, give them some more money. Oh, we can't do that. We can't offer more money. It's a bank holiday. Give them some more bloody money. That changed over the years, the whole bank holiday, didn't it? Do you remember in the bank holidays when you was a child that your parents might go to work for the day? You get double pay. Double pay. That don't happen anymore, I'm telling you that now. Even in pubs. They don't get anything extra for bank holidays. Entertainers, such as myself, right, we're just about holding on to the double money for bank holidays. Double money for New Year's Eve. Not bank holidays. Oh, hang on, what's that? I've got a sticky button here. Why are these buttons sticky? Well, it's quite an old jacket, that's why, probably. Oh, they're all sticky. There can't be stuff on all of them, can they? We all used to get double pay for New Year's Eve. We used to get, triple pay for New Year's Eve. We used to get double pay for bank holiday and all that. Now we just about get double pay for New Year's Eve, entertainers. But that'll go at some point as well, I tell you that now. Bank holidays, normal money. I bet the people in Centre Parc working on bank holidays, normal money. And think about it, right? This is, if you take the funeral out of the equation, it's just another bank holiday. So why are they closing? Mark of respect, my arse. They just don't want to pay anyone any extra. That's what it is. They've probably signed up to a contract anyway. Bank holidays are part of your working week. You see, that's how they do it. Oh, don't want to pay anyone anything extra. Bet you don't, you tight-fisted bastards. It said the vast majority of our guests are due to arrive or depart on Monday the 19th of September. Irrelevant. What about the ones that are there? Irrelevant. We have, however, reviewed our position regarding the very small number of guests, I bet there aren't, who are not due to depart on Monday, and we will be allowing them to stay on our villages rather than having to leave and return on Tuesday. I should blooming well think so at all. The villages will still remain closed on Monday and will be offering a discount for the lack of facilities available. Fair enough. Close your facilities, fair enough. But don't make people go home for the day. Are you for real? These people have travelled hundreds of miles, some of them, to get there. Many people who have been affected by the closure expressed their anger on Centre Parcs' Facebook page. One wrote, "We were five related families getting together for our annual family holiday with 2 small children and 2 dogs 3 hours from home. Where the hell are we supposed to go to for one night?" It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it, eh? Just crazy, stupid people. Stupid people. Thank you. I'm glad you, anonymous person, I'm glad you enjoyed the chat show. All right. Maureen says, All Creatures Great and Small is back again on the telly tomorrow night. Oh, we need some feel-good television at the moment. Channel 5, 6 parts, 9 o'clock. Watch that. We love it. All Creatures Great and Small. Well, they don't use that. What's the music they use? Da 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 da. That's great. That is. All Creatures Great and Small. Let me write that down for tomorrow. Must remember that. I'll try and remember to tell everyone tomorrow morning about that as well. Great and Small. Thursday 9 p.m. I'd definitely be watching that. Thank you, Maureen, for reminding me, because I would have forgotten that. Best thing on the telly. If you want something on the telly that doesn't involve loads of swearing and sex or beating people up, like on all the reality programmes, which are all crap, watch All Creatures Great and Small tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Channel 5. You will feel good after you've watched that. It's a nice little bit of light relief to the current terrible sadness that we all have. I certainly do, and I know many, many of you do as well. Thank you, Maureen, for reminding us that. All right, darling. I'm sure I was going to tell you something, Maureen. I can't remember what it was now, though. Can't remember. I think it was just about the chat show, Maureen. The chat show. I'm actually up. Like I say, you can't listen live, unfortunately, because it's only on Reach on Air on Sunday night into Monday morning. Okay, midnight till 1 a.m. But after I finish, I'll upload it the next day so that you can listen to it, because I know you're showing interest in that, my love. All right. Excuse me. Hello to Joey Millen. Hello, Joey. Are you going to the funeral on Monday? Oh, no, Joey. You've got to be very, very important person to be able to go to that. You've got to be really, really important to go to the funeral. There will, of course, be lots of people outside and all that. But I'm expecting hundreds of thousands of people are going to be there. Outside, hoping that the coffin goes past them, and it's just so many people, so many people. I'd like to, but I just don't really want to put up with all those crowds and that pushing and barging. I'm sure they're all very well behaved and all that, but it's, unless you're right at the front, you can't really see much anyway. You get a match. It's like a bit like a football match. You get a better view on the telly, don't you? Really, when you think about it. So no, I won't be going, Joey. Hello to Lee. Good evening, Lee. It's a bit late tonight. Watch back tomorrow, Lee. Yeah, that's right. That's how to do it. You watch back tomorrow. Thank you very much, Lee. Fun thing to do with tech is there. Spark is in the house. He's on Reach on Air tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. With the sorry, I beg your pardon, 7 o'clock. All right, 7 o'clock there. We'll do perhaps one more story, which is It's Here. Now, what do you think It's Here is referring to? Any ideas? What do you think I'm referring to? It's Here. See if you can guess that. Okay? Actually, I'll do another story. We can just fit another story in there. I'll do another story. Okay? What do I mean by It's Here? Go on, have a guess. Text in 07451287337 or on the Reach on Air message system there. Thank you very much. Someone's just sent me a £5 tip over on the PayPal. Thank you very much. Oh, I didn't put the PayPal thing up today. I see my little box isn't wearing. I'd usually push a button on here and it would just work, but that's not working. Can I put my PayPal up? Do you mind? There it is. PayPal. There it is. If you want a tip, there we are. That's how you do that one. Okay. Don't type in Chris Reardon UK into the PayPal search. Type that into your address bar, and anything you send me there will come straight to me. It's very kind of you. That's a £5 for Mr. Daniel Cope. Thank you very much, Daniel. That's very kind of you. Don't have to do that. You already give me sandwiches, dear. And when I ran Daniel's house the other day, Dan, who I mentioned earlier, is doing a show on Reach. And please, if you've got all your stuff ready for, if it's all there and by Sunday night you can't suss it out, just please let me know Sunday morning after about midday. Leave it till after midday because I'll be at church in the morning. It's my turn to play the organ this week. And let me know, and I'll come round Sunday night and I'll help you set it up, all right? Thank you very much, Dan. As well as that, as well as sandwiches as well. And when I was around his house, he makes chutneys. He'd give me an apple, which I haven't had yet, apple and something chutney. He did this chutney on cheese sandwiches. Absolutely delicious. Do you make your own stuff like that at all? So anyone who wants to send us a PayPal, feel free to do so. Go on, force yourselves. Send me a tip tonight. Don't be bloody tight. Thank you. Can you guess what's here yet? Can you guess what's here yet? Let me read you this little story here. Now, be very careful where you wee. Shall I do that? Or shall I do this other one here? Oh, hang on a minute. No. Yeah, no, I'll do it. We'll do the other one as well. A tube passenger, this is in a metro, right, had a very lucky escape after deciding to have a wee between two moving carriages. Why would you have a wee? What, in the carriage? The commuter's head was crushed on the Piccadilly line, but they somehow escaped with their life. Wow! Transport for London confirmed they suffered serious injuries in the incident, which was revealed in its quarterly health and safety report. It detailed other gruesome ways passengers and staff were injured on the network, including someone riding a Boris bike which collapsed when the front wheel came off. God. There were also 8 falls on staircases, including one man who died, may she rest in peace, after falling down the steps at Walthamstow Central Station. On the London Overground, a visually impaired passenger was seriously injured after falling from the train to the platform. But how do you... What does... Oh, I'm not sure exactly what I'm weeing in between the two moving carriages. I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. So was he... How do you do... Oh, I know what he's done. So where those doors are, you can walk through, can't you? You can walk through the 2 doors, yeah? So you get to the end of the carriage, open a door, and then open another door, and that's where the 2 trains are joined. So I know what he's done. He's obviously positioned himself to the side and put his head there, with the carriages moving like that, to have a wee, and that's what's that. It's probably turned a corner, you see. And then when they turn a corner, it's going to crush your head. He was lucky, weren't he? Blimey, so do be careful where you wee like that. Thank you very much. Carl has now sent me a little tip. Thank you, Carl. Very kind. And another one as well. Gosh. Wow, well, that was worth mentioning. It's been worth my while sitting here tonight. Thank you very much for your very kind tips tonight. Got about 5, 7, 8. I've got about 10 quid tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind tips tonight. £10 there. Thank you very much. I'll check just before we finish because I don't like to miss anyone out. You know, sometimes people send a tip right at the end, so I'll keep an eye on that. All right. Before I come to the bit on do you know what's come yet? And it's easy. It's even better news than it just coming. It's even better news than that. But I just wanted to say Prince Charles does appear at the moment to be having a little problem with his pens. Have you noticed that? Now, of course, being the king. Did I say Prince Charles then? We're going to have to get used to doing that, aren't we? King Charles. King Charles III does appear to be having a little bit of a problem with pens at the moment. You may remember, I think it was on the day of Queen Elizabeth's death. We got another one there. An anonymous then. Oh, yes, that's okay. We have one from Anonymous as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for Anonymous this evening. Don't you worry. Please always put that there so that I know you're anonymous, okay? You know what I mean, that person, okay? They're dying to know who it is, you know. I'll tell you what, if someone wants to tip me £1,000, I'll let you know who it is. Come on. I wouldn't. I seriously wouldn't. That's why I said to you right at the beginning of the show, I think I would have been good working for the Secret Services. You know, any royal or star who tells me stuff, I wouldn't pass it on to anyone else. Oh, hello, Sun newspaper. Oh, can I have £20,000? I've got a really good story. No, I'd rather not have the £20,000 or 10 million. If you offered me £10 million to tell you something that I might know about King Charles III, I wouldn't take the money. I'm serious. I know what you said. Oh, yes, you would. No, I wouldn't. I seriously wouldn't take that money. It's like those awful women, you know, prostitutes, right? No, that's not what I mean by if you are a prostitute and you're a woman, fine, that's great. Good. Get your money from where. I have no problem with that at all. What I do have a problem with is when you do the job, right, and then you go run into the paper for more money. I have no respect for you at all. I've slept with Premier football star. Chance would be a fine thing to be... No, sorry. Who's that one they all fancy at the moment? All the girls fancy at the moment. Not Marcus Rashford. Blonde hair. Greenish, something like that. They all seem to be all over him at the moment, don't they? And it'll move on to someone else soon. Probably me. But I just don't like that when a girl goes with a Premier League footballer, that's not enough for them. And again, run into the newspaper. I've got a story here. Thank you very much. £25,000. And they take the money and tell the story. And then you'll see this girl sitting there on the front page of the Sun in a bra and knickers. You know. I mean, who's going to go near that with a barge pole after you've told the story? Well, someone will, I suppose. Anyway, back to Charles there. He's got a problem with pens at the moment, hasn't he? Leaking pens. First of all, he signed that thing and the pen... Did you notice that? Oh, actually, my sister told me that. Did you notice the first time he signed this thing and he sat down at this thing and there was something on the table that was in the way. And he's like, get out of the way, like that. And I thought, well, he almost looks quite angry there, which is a side I've never really seen of King Charles. However, that happened. And then afterwards, he looked at this pen, which was clearly a decent pen, put the top on and put it in his pocket. He nicked the bloody pen, dear. Good old Charles. He nicked the pen. And then there was another little video I saw last night or this morning, one of the two, where he was at this place and a pen fouled on him and the ink went all over the place because they use these really posh pens, you see. Not like me, you know. I mean, that to me is a posh pen. It's a Parker. I got some new insides to it the other day and it works really well, you know. Really well. Really well. That's to me is a posh pen. No, they've got these pens... they probably Mont Blanc or something like that. You know, £500 for a bloody pen. They don't work. On this thing, the ink had gone everywhere, clearly. And he said, oh, get rid of this bloody pen. Every bloody time he goes like that. He was really angry. But he's got a lot of pressure on him. How on earth they are coping, I just don't know. I certainly know. I have a little problem, and to me, small problems are enormous problems. That's obviously something in my brain that's not quite right there, but a small problem to me is a mountain to climb. So I do not cope with things like that. I kind of shut down almost. And with the pressure that he must be under at the moment, I kind of get it. In the Express's reporting, King Charles was filmed signing the ceremony at Northern Ireland's Hillsborough Castle, looking visibly irritated following several days of official engagements while mourning his mother's death. He must be so tired. Remember, the bloke is 72 years old. He may be the king, but he's 72 years old. And he must be getting tired. He must be. Going from place to place. You know what travelling's like. It doesn't matter how comfortable that plane is. It's really tiring, isn't it? Anyway, King Charles III appeared to lose his temper at a leaky pen. I mean, just a leaky pen. You see, but that's the sort of thing that sets me off. It does. A leaky pen as he continues his nationwide tour following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. While visiting Northern Ireland, the new monarch accidentally signed the wrong date in a ceremonial booklet, writing the September the 12th instead of the 13th, before Camilla then points out that he had signed an earlier book with the same incorrect date. The pen then appears to leak on the king before he bursts out, "I cannot bear this bloody thing." In the video, King Charles says it's September the 12th. He is then corrected by a nearby aide before the monarch says, "Oh God, I've put the wrong date down." After the Queen concert, who I quite like, Camilla. I know she's not everyone's cup of tea. I like her. And I think she's going to be very useful to the king, apart from, of course, being his wife. In the times of when he's irritated like that, she is coming across as a very calming effect. He needs her. He needs her in his life, absolutely, and loves her as well, of course, by the looks of things. But if she would probably be the only one, other than his mother, to be able to calm him down, I would imagine, and she appears to be doing that now already. After the Queen concert points out that he also signed the 12th earlier, King Charles gets up and says, "Oh God, I hate this." Camilla then points out that the pen has leaked onto her husband's hand, after which the king pulls out a handkerchief and attempts to wipe away the ink. Visibly angry, he then says, "I can't bear this bloody thing. What they do every stinking time." So the pens are always leaking out. He later appears to storm out of the room while his wife signs the book herself. So she is definitely going to be a calming effect there, I reckon. Okay, so we've finished off the show. What has arrived? Thank you to where are we now? It's here, Gary Ross. It's here. What's here though? What's here? Aliens are here. Says Vera from Vera's Choice in the Morning. I wonder what she's going to choose tomorrow for us. Thank you, Vera. No one's guessed. No one's guessed. The new car's here. The new car's here. And it's come exactly on the... Pete Remington, you naughty man. Chris is making it sound like a wife is supposed to be useful. Are they? Yeah. Play that to your wife, Peter. Play that one to your wife, mate, and see what they say. Oh, happy wife, happy life, as my niece says to her husband. You are naughty to these poor ladies. You really are. You know how useful your wives are. You couldn't live without them. I know that. Yes, the new car's here. And it's already there. Yesterday I went to sign the papers and choose a number plate. I'll come to that in a minute. Okay? Pete says he's not going to let his wife listen to this programme. I think you should. I think you should. It looks remarkably similar to the one I've got now, except it's new. I've had my car over 3 years now. And the reason I haven't got it yet is because there's such a delay in ordering and actually receiving your cars. This was ordered in January. Now, Toyota have this thing where you can log on and see the progress of your car. In January, I logged on and it says processing. Right? And it's said processing ever since January. In fact, I got back yesterday from signing the papers and I clicked on and it still says processing. And it's supposed to go processing, order placed, we're making the car now, doing this, leaving the factory, got to the UK, but none of that happened. So that was a complete and utter waste of time, wasn't it? Anyway, so it's in the makers now. I signed the things yesterday. It's the same colour, probably a little bit different colour, but it's new, 0 miles on the clock. And I pay so much a month. And the reason I've changed it is because it's gone over 3 years now. For me, a car, number one, reliability, and number two, miles per gallon. I'm not interested in badges or anything like that. If I had loads and loads of money, the car I would choose would be a Bentley. Not a Porsche. I think they're ugly bloody things. Not a Porsche, not a Ferrari, none of those cars, not even a Range Rover. I would have a Bentley if I could choose any car that I want. But I don't have that sort of money. I probably never will have, and that's fine. I have a Toyota, mid-range, mid to low range, I suppose they are. Reliability, number one, right? And that's it. And I had to get an MOT this year, which I haven't had to do for blooming 20 years. But the reason is because it had gone over that 3 years, you see, and we were waiting for that car. And he told me back in January, we're looking at the mid to end of September. So he's bang on there. And they called me in this week. I signed it. He said, you can come and pick this up tomorrow if you want, i.e. today. But of course, after coming back from Lincolnshire, I filled up my car on Saturday night. Well, I don't want to hand them 50 quid's worth of blooming petrol, do I? They don't look at the petrol and say, oh, you've got half a tank there, there's 50 quid. No, that's not going to happen. So I said, I tell you what, if you don't mind, can I push that back to next week? Because I've got 3/4 at the moment. I've got 3/4 of a tank of petrol. And he said, yeah, no problem at all. Now, a couple of people said, why don't you siphon it out? I've also been told this is not as easy as it sounds with modern cars. Don't know if this is right. The car people will know this. But apparently some of these tanks and things have got things in them to stop you pushing a pipe in, presumably, so that you can't steal petrol and that sort of thing. So I didn't go along. I did look on the Amazon, and there was this bulb thing with 2 tubes that you're supposed to squash like that. It was only 7 quid. I thought I'll order that. Then I started looking. Oh, look how old my hands look now. Look. God, look. Cool those. I remember my mum saying that. My mum said that. She says it made her feel old when she looked at her hands and saw all the wrinkles. Well, I've got them now, and oh, look. Gosh, can you see them? Oh, well. Yes, and this bulb. And then I read these reviews and said you better have a strong hand because you were doing this all the time, trying to get the blooming petrol out. So I decided not to do it. And I just pushed the collection date back a week to next Wednesday. So that's when I go and pick it up. And that's all well and good. And then he brings out this number plate list. He said, right, choose a number plate. It's not personalised number plate. I wouldn't spend, I think, again, it's a crazy thing to do, spend thousands of pounds just because your number plate wants to stand out. I mean, who notices? Has anyone ever noticed these personalised number plates? I mean, I might notice like CMR1. I might notice that as it's going along. But like a general personalised number plate, which is like a full number plate, but perhaps a couple of letters that relate to, what a bloody waste of money that is. I know people that buy them. Am I right in thinking something like that is actually tax deductible? A personalised number plate. Oh, it's to do with the business. That plumbing bloke's got them, hasn't he? Pimlico Plumbing. He's had loads done to his face, hasn't he? What does he look like? That Pimlico plumber bloke. He's had all this work done on his face. It's so obvious. Anyway, he's got a few of these number plates, which he got as investments. I get that. LAV1 and that sort of thing. I get that, right? But I've no interest in having anything nice. Well, no, ridiculously unnecessary is the word. I've no interest in having anything unnecessary like that. However, so I'm going up and down this list. He said, what do you fancy? And I'm going up and down this list. I'm thinking, I don't know. It's about 3 pages of number plates he had there. And he said, what about that one? It was something like ZTZ. something with a bit of the front. I can't remember what a bit of the front was now. No, don't. Yeah, that's not too bad. Or what ZH said, yeah, that's okay. It didn't really mean anything to me. I'm going up and down this list, looking for sort of a CMR or a UKT or an ROA, and there's nothing. And then there it was, LWT. Yes, because I like all the little ITV idents, all London Weekend, Thames Television, ATV. There it was, LWT. So that's the one I'm getting. I was so pleased to spot that. LWT. The one I've got at the moment is DJU. See, DJ and U? That kind of worked. So there we are. There we are. So that's coming, and then that's next week. And the payments go down by about 140 quid as well, which is now an advantage because it's built up so much value, this particular car. And the old car as well, the one I'm in now, as you probably know, second-hand cars are going for a lot of money at the moment because they can't get the new ones out, and that's why the value there. Of course, the car company are making out of it as well. I get that, so I'm very, very pleased with that. Very pleased with that. LWTA. Mick says buy a Peugeot. No, thank you. No French cars. Thank you very much. Stay away from German cars, says Gary Ross. Well, I had a VW. Mark III Golf years ago. It was fantastic. And after the period of time, I think it was 3 years, I traded it in for a Mark IV or V, and it had constant electrical problems, this VW. It was the doors. They kept jamming shut. It was electric door opening thing, And I couldn't get out. I'd have to get out the side door. So, and it was always the same. Oh, just pop it in. We're sorted. Oh, it's not pop it in. It's a half a day's blooming day gone there. Pop it in and we're sorted out. So I fix that. Then you'd be all right for a while, and then the door would jam again. Oh, you take that in, and then the other door would jam. Take that in, and this went on for some time, and then something major went wrong. I think it had to be towed in, and it was the central computer thing, whatever that is. And it was 2 months before the end of the guarantee, and they replaced it. And I said, how much would that have cost? And bear in mind, we're going back here 25 years, right? Or more, maybe. 1990s. Yeah, about 25 years. About 25 years. And he said, about 5. Oh, blimey. Well, I'm lucky there. And I drove it away, and I'm thinking, a lot of electronic problems, and they are still happening. I thought, nah, get rid of it. And I traded it in for a Land Rover, a Defender Land Rover, and I loved the Defender Land Rovers. Really loved them. At the time, petrol wasn't too badly priced. I was on really good money. I was working every night as a DJ. I was on a lot of money then. So that's what I did. And then I had 3 Land Rovers. And from Land Rover, I went to Toyota Aygo, which was tiny, because the Land Rover servicing charge was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. This particular service was £1,000. Now, I could afford it at the time for £1,000 for a service. Wow. And then it was at that point I decided to get rid of it. From there, I went to Toyota, and I got a Toyota Aygo, then a Yaris, then another Yaris, then a RAV4, and this RAV4 now, and now going for another RAV4. So that's my sort of car journey, my more recent car journey. But the payments go down, so I'm well happy about that. All right. Let me just do something here. And I'll come to your final messages. I've done something really stupid here. Oh yeah. Oh, come on, Chris, what have you done? There it is. There it is. Right, any more messages? I'll read them very quickly then, and then we're going to disappear. Jason says, my son had a 14-plate Golf GTD auto. Lovely car it was. Yeah, auto cars as well. Yeah, mine are automatic. I went automatic with the first RAV4. I'd never go back to a gear car again. You know, it's funny, you kind of don't want an automatic car. All the time you've got a gear one, right? And then you get an automatic one. I wouldn't go back to gears now. It's much easier. None of the Americans have gears, do they? Stick shift, they call them, don't they? Stick shift. Peter says no one will be buying a new BMW in the near future. They can't get wiring harnesses. They're made in the Ukraine. Is that right? Well, they're doing quite well now, aren't they? They're doing quite well. The people in the Ukraine, haven't they started to take back a lot of the land that they lost, I think. Anyway, we're going to disappear here now, boys and girls. Thank you very much for joining us today. Been a pleasure chatting away to you, as always, on the show. I'll certainly be watching the Queen's funeral on Monday morning. I was going to say looking forward to that, but that sounds a little bit wrong, doesn't it? Yeah, you're looking forward to someone's funeral, so I won't say that. If you're around tomorrow morning, join us at Reach On Air. There you go. There's my little radio show tomorrow morning between 9 and 10 o'clock. ReachOnAir.com. Don't forget, if you've got an Amazon device, just say Amazon, play radio station, Reach On Air. If you fancy a bit of a phone-in show and you're up late, we've got that on for the next 3 weeks. It worked quite well this week, doing a phone-in show. Again, that's only on Reach On Air. Sunday night, Monday into Monday morning. That's midnight until 1 o'clock in the morning, okay? Can I just thanks ever so much for your messages, and thank you, those of you that sent a tip in today. It's very kind. I don't always get tips, very rare actually, so it's very kind of you to have sent in tips today. And we'll have another little chat show for you next Wednesday at the same time, 8 o'clock. Thank you for joining me. Good night now.